Hey, what's up? It's Privacy J here. Today, I'm going to be unboxing of the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is a console that it complains by the Nintendo 3DS and the Nintendo Wii U right here. So let's get about the unboxing. So let me set up the backstage right here, and we have a Nintendo Switch console, a Joy-Con with gray, the color, like I like the gray one, that's the color, so that's my favorite color. L and right, that's L and R because it's left and right. Joy-Con straps, high-speed HDMI cable, Nintendo Switch dock, and some Joy-Con grip, and Nintendo Switch adapter. So that's included in the box, so I'm going to use my GoPro right here. I'm going to record this. And let's get ahead and unbox it. So, shoot the camera right here. There we go. Wow. Wow. Look at it. Wow. As you see, there's a card right here, but there's a button right here again. That's it.
See, good evening, everybody. This lady is very humble, but she's one of the anchors that holds Queens Public Library together. So give her a round of applause for everything that she does here at Humphreys and other branches. You know, looks out for everybody here in the library system. And I'm glad you explained what the Friends are all about, because a lot of times we want to participate and we want to see programs. You may have some ideas that you oh, how come you don't have this and how come you don't have that? So join, be part of the Friends group, and you can input and be, hands-on with everything that's going on right here, especially in this particular branch. If you wanted this particular branch, or Corona, or Langston Hughes, or any of the 65 libraries that we have here in Queens, be part of it and come up with your own programming. And this is a new space. This was built for the community. It's not for us to sit in here and look at. It's for the community, and take advantage of everything that is here. We want to see it packed all the time. People doing things, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, because Ron Lawrence, who was a young man that I knew when he just started, as a rapper and a producer, and he's from this particular neighborhood. He's from East Elmhurst. He grew up here, and he told me that he had a book called Where I'm From. And Miss Margaret at the same time was telling me she needed some hip-hop programming, and I said, I got the perfect combination. So that's what I do. I kind of put people together, and in this case, it's excellent, because Ron is from this neighborhood. Miss Margaret is embedded in this community. She knows everything that's going on, and she wants to meet somebody like Ron and others that want to do programming here, and that's one of the reasons why we're here today. So Ron is going to tell you his story in a little while. Right now, he has his book set up outside. If you want to get a copy of his book, you can get a copy of his book. He'll sign it for you, take some photos, Instagram, hashtag East Elmhurst Library, Queens Public at Queens Public Library, and get involved. It's not like the old library back in the days. We have fun here. You don't have to be quiet. We come in here and we do things that we might not be able to do, in other spaces. So take advantage of it. And thank you so much, Margaret, for allowing us to be here this evening. So I'm going to play some more music. Please go outside, meet Ron Lawrence, and then we're going to start the program in a little while. We're going to give folks a chance to come in, but get a chance to talk to Ron and pick up a copy of his book. Thank you. McDaniels, I'm the hip-hop coordinator for Queens Public Library. Some of you may know me from my TV show, Video Music Box, which is celebrating 36 years in the African American Smithsonian Museum. So we want to welcome everybody. This is going to be a great event this evening. I know a lot of people from East Elmhurst and Corona. Is East Elmhurst in the house? Make some noise. Yeah. So this is our redone East Elmhurst branch. There are 64 libraries, if you don't know, in the Queens area, and this one has been redone thanks to the city of New York and other people that contribute. And Margaret, who's our head librarian here, she will be moving around. And if you want to do programs here, please feel free. I spoke to Ron, I guess maybe 6 months ago, and he was telling me about his book and other things that he was working on. And I said, you have a book? I didn't know you had a book. I know he had done a documentary that's great on YouTube called Founding Fathers. Anybody see the documentary Founding Fathers? Know about that? Okay. Yeah. And I said, I didn't know you had a book. I said, you have to come to the library because that's what I do. I'll bring some of our hip-hop brothers and authors, and we bring in DJs, and we do DJ 101 classes. The kids learn how to DJ. Some of the choreographers that have worked with me on music videos and programs come in and they work with the kids and show them how to do the dances and things like that, the artwork, the graffiti. You gotta pick a graffiti name and you show you how to write it out. So these are the type of programs that the kids are into right now, and they into their music too. It's not like back in the days, some of the the stuff that we listen to. I let them play their own music and enjoy themselves and come out and do their thing. So this is a first for me at this redone version. It looks pretty nice in here. Give a round of applause to East Elmhurst Library. And Miss Margaret, she's just come on up. We're gonna do a little one. Once again, I know. Before we get started, she has some great programs here, and she can tell you real quick. The short version.
The short version.
Give it up for Miss Margaret, y'all.
Good evening to everyone. I'm Ms. Margaret. I'm the manager here at East Elmhurst Library. I'm also a youth service librarian, certified youth service librarian. I work with teens, specialize with teens. First, I wanted to invite everyone, and I hope you have an interest in being a friend of the East Elmhurst Community Library. Queens Library have a group called the Friends of the Library, and the majority of the branches have Friends group. East Elmhurst have a Friends group. This coming Monday, December 9th at 6 p.m., the group will be meeting here. And we are trying to recruit more members. Friends, let me give a short version. They advocate for the library. You can raise funds, I can't. As a staff person, I can't raise funds. But the Friends group can raise funds. And there might be areas we might need more programming similar to this. Co-programming is money. We have to pay presenters. We have to pay for materials. We might need some additional laptops. So this is where Friends Group come in. You can advocate. You can actually have a fundraiser to raise funds for those purposes. On Saturday, next Thursday, December 12th at 3:30 p.m. will be the East Elmhurst Annual Spelling Bee. You are all invited. Come out and support the kids. The Queens Library have a spelling bee competition that all of the kids that win in these branch spelling bees, they go forward. In May, they will represent the branches for the spelling bee competition. They do win prizes at the branch level and also at the Queens Public Library level. On December 14th, Saturday, December 14th, Flamenca Navida, I might have it wrong, I'm trying to do it from memory, but is a Hispanic group that will be performing here at 2:30 p.m. There are calendar brochures for individual branches. And so when you leave this room, you can pick up one of the brochures and you can see all of the upcoming programs. For example, we have bingo for adults and we have Scrabble for adults. There's something for everyone. So please come out, support your agency. And this is actually how we do get additional funding, is the numbers.com. So every number, when you attend programs or borrow materials, it helps with the additional funding from the Queens Public Library management level. So again, thank you for being here tonight, and I welcome each one of you to the East Elmhurst Community Library.
There's never a shortage. But ladies and gentlemen, at this time I want to bring out our special guest, Queens native, music producer, historian. I learned a lot when I talked to Ron about this particular community and things that went on even before he was born. And so that means he cares about his community. He's cared about it from day one, and the contributions that have happened in Queens, and he always stands up for East Elmhurst, the Hearst, and please give it up for Ron Lawrence.
Everybody can hear me? Cool. Okay, yeah, that light is like all in my eyes. Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate the support. I want to talk about the neighborhood where I grew up, East Elmhurst. Everybody knows about it. So, 2 blocks away, I grew up on 97th Street, between Astoria Boulevard and 25th Avenue. And I had a great childhood. Hung out at 127 Park, which is about 2 blocks away. We did a lot of things there. We played handball, football, basketball, stickball, punchball. What else we did, Jamal? We did so much stuff. Yeah, we did stuff we wasn't even supposed to be doing. So we
Just say that.
Yeah, and then we enjoyed the parties. I mean, you know, the park jams that they had, the wee hours of the night. Parents used to come with the belts and, you know, take the kids home and all that stuff. Yeah, those were the good times, you know. The strip of Astoria Boulevard, I'm going to run down a little memory lane, and I'm pretty sure you guys can remember a lot, and y'all can either, you know, kind of help out if you'd like. But starting down towards 90th Street, we had the Fair. Now the Fair was the theater that we all went to, and we saw all the movies. And across the street, we had Cozy Cabin. And that was a spot that we would go in there, we would peep in and see all the little white ladies walking up the street. We had 3 diners. Those are the diners that we would go to late night. We had Buccaneer, we had Red Wagon, we had Deerhead Diner, and those were the spots that we would eat after we come from the parties. We come from the USA Roller Skating Ring, or if we went to the disco. Sometimes we would hit that White Castle spot on 89th Street, and then you wake up the next day and our stomach is all messed up. So you get to 94th Street. Across the street, we had Butts Realty. I'll tell you a little story about Butts. When my family first came here, we moved to 96th Street, 2620. On the opposite side of Astoria Boulevard. We were renting there because my aunt lived on that block. She came by way from Harlem. And so my father found a house on 97th Street. Right? Now Butts, he had a monopoly in East Elmhurst. It was between him and the Langleys. They were buying up all the properties. So my pops and Butts had a bidding war over the house, and Butts won. And my pops was like, look, here I am, I got 8 kids, and we need a house, we need somewhere to stay, and then you got a monopoly in this neighborhood, like, dude, like, what you doing? And you know, Butts eventually gave in and was like, yo, you know what, y'all can have a house. And that's how we ended up at 97th Street, but you know, he could have easily taken it, and we would have been done. But that was a blessing for us. So now, next to Butts, you had Freddy's and Nettie's. Now that was where we got the candy store. We got the Bubble Yum. We had the comic books, right? All the comic books. And
The wrestling books.
The wrestling books.
So you win there.
But I'm focused on the candy because that was my thing. all the candy, you know, the grape, whatever. It was just so much stuff. And across the street we had Presley's Drugstore. Y'all remember Presley's?
Yes.
Yeah, Presley's Drugstore. And then next to that we had Dr. Pellegrini. That was my dentist. That's where we used to get our teeth cleaned. And we get to 95th Street, this library right here. I've been here ever since what? Kindergarten, first grade, reading Peanuts and Madeline and Curious George, and we did it right here. And we would come, you know, when I got a little older, we would come in here, right? Because it would be cold and we needed somewhere to hang out. So we would come hang out in the library and then we would make noise and they would kick us out because you couldn't make noise in the library. But a certain time, it was certain days of the week, the library would stay out late. It would probably close like around 6:30, 7 o'clock. So that was our little hangout spot. So we would come in here. Then I went to St. Gabe's church. I didn't go to school for St. Gabe's, but I went to the church. And while I was attending the church, I did Sunday school, I did First Communion, and I did confirmation. Mind you, church started. The good thing about Catholic church, it's a half-hour service, half-hour long. So, and it will start at 11:30 and at 12. And my mom would send me out to church, right? So if you look on 97th Street, there are 3 alleyways. So there's a second alleyway, where my house is, and then there's a third alleyway before you get to the parking lot. So my mom would send me off to church, and I would go out and I would hide out. Well, church would end at 12 o'clock. So when I would get home 12 o'clock on the dot. And then my mom was like, how do you get home so early? Church just gets out at 12 o'clock. And then she finally figured out I was hiding out in the alleyway and I wasn't going to church. You know? So across the street from the church we had, Latif's parents had a store. But this is his mother, Latif Molets, the Molets. The mom, they were Muslims, and the mom, she used to sew and she used to make clothes and stuff. She was a seamstress, right? And next door we had Mr. Murphy's. It was Block and Run. Mr. Murphy's, and then Murphy sold it to Joe, and Joe sold it to the Hispanics. And we started calling them Punch. And you know, that was the bodega thing. Across the street, Count's Cleaners is still there till this day. And then we had the butcher shop next door. And then we had Edwards Taxi Cab. That's where we got our taxis. And
Tire show, JA.
the taxi, that was like, you know, you would call them and boom, right there on the spot, take you where you needed to go. And then you had Tony's Barber Shop. Tony reminded me of, I don't know, for some reason he used to remind me of Don Cornelius. And he was mean. You know, you go in there and, what kind of you want? And speaking the chin, shaking and whatnot. But he would make it up because he had the lollipops. Tony would give you the lollipops after you cut your hair, you know? Across the street, of course, we know Elmcor. That was, you know, all the sports activities. And then you had, after Elmcor, you had Bocaccio. Oh yeah, then we had Cunningham's, yeah. She reminded me of Florida. I don't know, for some reason that Florida Evans thing always sticks in my mind when I think of Cunningham's. But then she had the cheeseburgers. We put the iron on the cheeseburger, and it would just sizzle up, you know. But we would hit that spot after we would leave 99th Street Pool, and we would come down and we'd get the candy fish or get the cheeseburger, you know, whatever else they had up in that store. And then I met a lot of people when I started to attend Cub Scouts over at Southern Baptist Church on 100th Street. I met a lot of kids from Corona. That was like kind of like my introduction to a lot of the kids from Corona. And then also going to ABC camp in Manpower. I met a lot of Corona friends from Manpower as well. And then eventually, later on in life, I started like like about 14, 15, I got my first job at Manpower. I became a camp counselor over at Woodside, but Manpower was what gave me the job. And then after that, I started working at Burger King, worked there for 2 weeks, got fired. Then I tried McDonald's, that worked out even better. And I can't forget Main Street. We used to actually walk over to Main Street, go to Shea Stadium. I was into martial arts back then. I used to think I was Bruce Lee, so there was a martial arts supply store over on Main Street that I would just travel and walk over there by foot. Everybody did that. Or else we'd go up to Junction Boulevard. And they had a nice little karate store up there. But Junction Boulevard, that was a nice spot that we would go to. My mother used to take me there to Buster Brown. I used to get the Brokehead sneakers. When I first came here, I was rocking Skips. And I used to get teased. And then I graduated to Brokehead. I was cool after that. You couldn't tell me that. So from that point, let me talk about school too. The schools you had. I went to all the schools in East Elmhurst. From PS 148 to 127 to IS 145. Then I went to high school art and design. Did that for 2 years, got kicked out. Ended up at Bryan High School. Graduated on time. Then I went to Howard University. So when I got to HU, that was a great experience. I met so many good people that changed my life. It just took me into a whole other direction. Going to Howard University, I didn't know what to look for. I didn't know how it had in store for me, but the way things panned out, I mean, it's just like I wouldn't change a thing about it. But after going to Howard, I left, went to LA for a year, and then came back to New York. And after going to college, I ended up being a record producer. I mean, go figure. I don't know how that happened, but from being a record producer, I started, making a whole lot of records, and decided to get married, and then decided to raise a family. I raised a daughter in New York, actually New Jersey, and then decided to move to Florida after a while. Moved to Florida, raised 2 sons, and now they're in high school. They're on their way getting ready for college. So the thing about Florida is pretty cool. The weather's nice. I enjoy living in Florida, but there was one thing about Florida that just left this is a touchy situation, but I'm going to talk about it. But when I was 47 years old, I decided that it was time for me to do a colonoscopy. So I make a doctor's appointment, I go see the doctor, and he had me drink this fluid, this nasty fluid you had to drink. So you drink the fluid, so I go see him, and then he says, all right, cool, now you have to go to the clinic to get the test done. So I go to the clinic, and they tell me I'm too old. No, they say I'm too young. They said, you need to be 50 years old. So I go back to my doctor, and I say, well, doc, they told me I was too young. He said, no, you're African American, you're 47. They're supposed to let you do it. I said, but you got to drink the fluid again. And I said, well, I don't want to drink this fluid. He said, because, you can go back in another 3 days. But I wasn't trying to do that because the fluid was too nasty. So I said, I'm just going to hold off. I ain't messing with that. So I held off for like a good 3 years or so. After 3 years passed, I decided to go ahead and take the test. So I take the test. And then I wake up after the anesthesia. And the worst thing, nobody likes bad news. So when I wake up from anesthesia, I hear the doctor tell me that you got cancer. So I'm looking at the doctor like, in disbelief. Like, this is the Twilight Zone. Like, it's not registering. And I'm like, so the whole ride home, I just can't believe it. Like what the doctor told me, it just blew my mind. That day, my life changed forever. My whole life just crumbled. It just changed. That was it. Can you go to the video? First video. Did you see that peeling hand? That was my hand. My hand peeled. Skin was falling off my hand. Peeled. Okay. So after going through the treatment of radiation and chemotherapy and all that stuff, I felt like Steve Austin. It's like we have to rebuild him. You know? So now I have to go back into the gym and I have to rejuvenate myself. I have to change my diet, start eating right, and start building myself back up physically. And not only physically, but mentally, I had to build my mind back up, you know? And then I started thinking, like, time is of the essence. Like, anything could happen. Like, you have to go outside and get hit by a car. Or it's just, you just never know, you know? You never know what life has for you. So I started thinking, like, you know, now my mind is racing. I'm taking life more serious. And I gotta do things, I gotta accomplish this, I gotta do that, so now my mind is going. And I'm more creative than I've ever been. So now I wanna start this business, I wanna create this, that. I wanna do a streaming site and start a clothing site company. And my mind is just going, and I'm just starting creating all these businesses, and I'm a different, you know, just becoming a different person, you know? And then I'm like, okay, wow, I have to start documenting, because we often don't document our life, and then when we're gone, people forget about us. And everybody has a story. We all have a story, but we don't document it. Like our parents. My parents, they told us stories, right? And they didn't have what we had. They told us stories, and the story that I got from them, I passed them on to my child. So the stories that they got, their grandparents told, their parents told them those stories, and it goes back and goes back. But the problem with that is those stories, they, you know, as they trickle down the line, information gets lost, and you know, you don't always get the information as accurate as it needs to be. We're fortunate to be living in this age because we have social media. I mean, we can frown on it, but when you think about social media, think about everybody has a camera, and everybody has a phone, and in everybody's phone, everybody has a camera. And what we're doing is we're documenting as we go along. We're taking pictures of whatever we do, and we're posting it on social media. So when you look at your timeline, you look at, you know, Facebook started what, 2010 to 2008, and if you joined in 2008, and then you look at everything that you've done since then, you'll notice there's a timeline of pictures that you've taken. You're actually documenting your life. You're documenting, because those pictures tell a story. They're telling a story of what you're going through, or what you've been going through, and every picture you look at, you can talk about what happened in that time of that picture. Our parents wasn't fortunate to have that information. So this is information that we can use. You know, Facebook is taking and making money from it. You can take that and you can use that and you can make money from it because you can write your own story. Me, when I was young, I was fortunate. I was kind of fortunate because, you know, I had an older brother who had a camera, and he would take pictures. And then my brother over here, Derrickson, he was doing a model thing when I was a little kid growing up. So he would use me to take his pictures. He would put a camera in my hand and say, hey, I need you to take this picture for me. So he would show me how to position an image in the camera. So I did so well taking his photo shoots for him, he decided to buy me a camera. Can we go to the second shot? So yeah, so taking these pictures, it gave me insight. And I'm looking at all these pictures and I'm like, wow, this is my life. I need to write a book. Because while I'm looking at these pictures, I'm seeing the vision. So I reach out to a friend, and his name is Lucio Dutch. Lucio Dutch is a gentleman who writes books he's written for a lot of the old school rappers. DJ Hollywood and Phyllis Ford, Tito, and LA Sunshine, and these guys. Dutch was like, look, I can't write your book, I'm busy, but I'll introduce you to my friend Sheldon Taylor. Sheldon was a friend of mine on Facebook. Sheldon and I got together, and so what I would do was I started writing in my phone every single day. Before I went to bed, I would go into my notepad and I would write in my phone paragraphs of what I could remember in my life. Every night before I went to bed, I would take 20 minutes and I would just write and write. And the more I started writing, the more I started remembering things that I forgot. And I just kept writing every day. And sometimes I would wake up in the morning and I would write. And I just kept doing it for 6 months straight. And before you know it, it was a manuscript, just 300 pages. I was just like, wow, we got something. You know, what should we call it? And I'm thinking, where I'm from. Now, Where I'm From is a song that I produced for an artist by the name of Jay-Z. The song talks about where he grew up in Marcy Projects. But since I produced the song and I made the track, the title, it just fit. It fit perfectly for the story of what I wanted to portray in my life. And I said to myself, what better place than East Elmhurst? The essence, where I grew up, the place that made me, the place that I learned how to rap, and the people who inspired me to do music, and all the great things that came from this neighborhood. I said, this is the place I need to represent. And let's go to the third piece, please. And this is the dedication. That's my editing, by the way. If it sucks, let me know. Yeah. So, thank you very much, and that's my presentation.
So, do you have any questions? Yes. Come on.
Talked about your family and when your family moved here, but you never said where your family was from. Where you came from.
It's in the book. Yeah, well, my family came from Dominica. Not Dominican Republic, but Dominica. We say Dominica, but Dominica, or Dominica. But yeah, that's where my family's from. And my aunt, she came on a steamboat in 1915 when she was 15 years old. And she left Dominica and she moved to Harlem. Then she got married, started her own beauty salon, and then when she started losing her sight, she just decided to retire and she moved to East Elmhurst, Queens on 96th Street. And she sponsored her sister, which is my grandmother, in the 50s, and my grandmother came, and then my parents, while they were living in Dominica, they had the best jobs possible. They had the best jobs on the island, My mom was a school teacher, a high-ranking school teacher. My father was a police chief, and we had, you know, a nice house, and we had everything. We had maids, we had it all. And but it got to the point where they felt that they had this, they did everything, and they felt that they needed more, and they couldn't grow any further. And the United States was the answer. So my father reached out to his mother, and she sponsored him. He came up in the 60s. He hung out for a bit and was like, okay, cool, this is what it is. I'm gonna go back and get the family. And brought the whole clan back, 8, 9, 10 of us, and the rest is history.
Ron, in what you just mentioned, so what has happened in the United States over the last couple of years with immigration, that's a good example of what happens when a family comes from somewhere else and then comes into a community like East Elmhurst and changes the community around. And you and your brother and your family have done great for this particular community and the world. So if you're an immigrant, please stay here and keep your culture. Don't let the United States take your culture away. Keep your culture. And more questions? Yes.
Well, this is more of thank you very much, Ron, because I commend you for coming back to your hood and keeping it 100% real, because we are still alive and kicking, and we still do have a very predominant ethnic community here. As you know, our block is still like basically 90% West Indian. You know our block, which is crazy because 97th Street is what you do. But we do have a large ethnic group, and I thank you so much for sharing this, because I mean, it's just like a trip down memory lane, and it's just incredible. And I hope you leave your spirit with all of us, so that we know that we are to continue fighting for our beautiful community, you know, and know that we do have a brother that came back here from Florida, like, who has toured the world and been everywhere, but he loves his hood so much, he wrote a book about it, and he's here with us. And so is his brother, you know? Let's just keep that essence going, okay? Keep it going, and thank you so much, Ron.
I saw another hand in the back. Yes.
Quick question. When the doctor told you that you have a cancer, mentally, how you overcome that depression? Because, you know, anyone, when the doctor tell you, oh, I got cancer, so you end up in depression, some they go probably for religion, drugs, alcohol. How you overcome that, please?
Mind over matter, you know. I just have to basically, just gotta think positive. It's a fight, so it's like any other thing. You have to win the battle, and when you get knocked down, you get back up. You get knocked down again, you get back up, and you just keep getting back up. I mean, it wasn't an easy fight. I'll tell you that. It wasn't easy. I mean, I went through a lot. And it was a hard road, because you know when you get that kind of news, and when you don't know what to expect, you don't know what the future holds, and then you hear other people who who are in the same boat, and then you see that they're dropping, this person is going, and then in your mind you're like, okay, well, I gotta think positive, and I gotta do the right things, you know? So, I had to get strong. I had to get strong and keep my mind. I had to keep myself busy, basically. Keep myself busy and just live a normal day life, like it never happened. So, and I would tell people, don't feel sorry for me. I don't want your pity. I want you to treat me like I'm the same person that you knew before I had that. So when you call me, I don't want to hear none of that boo-hooing or none of it. Just let's talk regular like we always do. And my family did a good job of that. You know, my brothers and sisters, they didn't come visit me. They had no pity. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I had a strong support system, you know, which is very important. Yeah.
Questions? Come on, Hurst, where y'all at? None of y'all here.
Stop running, you don't know you want to ask questions. Just ask them, brother.
All right, I'm gonna ask them. Okay, you worked with Diddy, Bad Boy. Tell us about Diddy as an executive producer.
Bad Boy was whack. No, it was a great experience. You know, coming into Bad Boy, it was a learning experience. I mean, the good thing about it was there was a lot of people that I knew because I went to school with them. Howard University, you'd be surprised that there were a lot of people from Howard that had an impact in the music industry around that time. And a lot of them I went to school with, you know. So, Puffy being one of them, and my partner D-Dot, and Hawk Pierre, and Mark Pitts, and so many more of us. I mean, you know, they were just so supportive. And it's that whole connection. It's like, when you think about Howard University, you see how, like, I don't want to say the Black Harvard, but when you think of Harvard University, you think of the connection that goes on in Harvard. Like, you know, people at Harvard University, you look at them in all these top positions in businesses. 9 times out of 10, when you graduate with a Harvard degree, you're either running some business, like you're president of this company, or just look at, I mean, especially with black executives, just look at Bob Johnson, for instance. He's a Harvard graduate. Barack Obama, he went to Harvard. And because of these connections, it allows them, and it puts them in those positions. Howard had that connection amongst our people. So when Puffy got on, he put his Howard people on, you know? And we had an impact in the industry. And when you look at what it has done musically, and you know, like a lot of artists that came through, a lot of it had to do with the impact of the cats that came out of Howard for that time, you know. And my sister over here, she's a prime example. She's an attorney and she represents a lot of artists in the entertainment industry today. So yeah, that was the Puffy Rock connection thing.
So the documentary on the producers when they took you guys all out to the island, I don't know, was it William Nassau, or was it?
Oh yeah, no, we went to Bahamas too, but originally we went to Trinidad. That was the original plan. The original plan was to take over the airwaves of New York City. And this was a time when there was a friction between Bad Boy and Death Row. There was a lot going on at the time, and we needed to concentrate because it was just too much. So what better place to be than, you know, an island on the beach and, you know, seeing nice, sexy women and making beats. So we went to Trinidad, and then, you know, sipping on iced tea and eating mangoes and curry chicken and hitting on that drum machine, you know. So yeah, and we made a lot of great music. A lot of big records came out of that trip in Trinidad for that time. Records like Hypnotize and All About the Benjamins and so many great records. And Aaliyah came down. And
So wait, before you Hypnotize.
Yeah.
Who produced that? just want to make a note of that.
Hey, Ron, I'm gonna ask you a question. What would you do, or what do you do, or would you do, without getting paid for it? Like all of us here. I'm asking everybody the same question, not just you, but really all of us. Like, what would we do that we'd love to do, that we wouldn't do for money, but we would do it for ourselves, for our families, for our friends? What is that thing?
Give back. That's why I'm here.
Any other questions? Yes.
Ron, I have a question to you. Bernie Lawrence Watkins.
Oh, she's gonna.
That's this.
Hey, Bernie.
That's the
Don't
sister.
do it, Bernie.
Is it a little sibling rivalry going on here?
Remember, I'm the older brother.
Yeah, I'm the baby. Anyway, my question to you is, you have 2 young sons that you're currently raising in today's climate. Understanding how the music industry has changed, what would you tell your younger self today and to your kids that may have interest growing up in the music industry?
I will tell them to be independent and self-sufficient and learn the business from a perspective the way that I did learning. Learn how to be your own boss. Control your masters. Own 100% of your publishing. Start your own record label. Right? And create your own venture. That's what I would tell them. See, now, I came up under the old system where you sign to the record company and then you produce for the record company and you do all these other things for the record company. But now with the power of social media, you can be the driving force. You can do it yourself now. You don't need those people. You can be your own MCA. You could be your own bad boy. You could be what they are. Because all you need is a following. Once you get your following, get that hit record. Once you get that hit record, I don't even want to say sky's the limit. You go beyond the sky. You go to the stars. Take it there.
I have a question. Me too. With that being said, you all know that it's very easy to make music because we just do it now on our laptops and things like that. So the microwave way of making music is a very easy thing to do. So how does somebody separate themselves from being so microwavable when things are very convenient and affordable to be microwave? But how does the microwave feel like well cooked, a well cooked meal, something like that? How does somebody separate themselves or further get more of the connection to the people with the microwave way of doing things now?
Well, you have to be creative. You have to kind of step outside of the box. You can't follow what everybody else is doing. You have to be the leader. That's why everything is microwavable, because everybody's doing what everybody's doing. Everybody want to jump around. See, before we didn't do it, we didn't prance around like that. We call that guy,
Jiggy?
nah, the one who started it.
Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy, yeah. Now everybody's doing the Soulja Boy thing. So that's a pattern. But that's what's winning right now. So, this generation.
Is that one? Is that one?
It's winning, oh yeah. I mean, when I look at my royalties, I look at the streams, so that's where it is. So yes, it's winning. So, but I say that you, as an individual, if you don't want to do what they do, you got to create your own lane. And once you create your own lane, you get that following, then you'll stand out. I mean, there's plenty of room. You just gotta find your own niche.
Another question in the back?
Trap music? Would you let your kids do trap music?
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna do trap music because that's what's in right now. That's today's generation of music. So if that's what they like. My son listens to trap music. That's what his friends listen to. But I also let him listen to Moving On. You know, that's the record that I did back in early 1990. So, you know, so he understands that kind of music, but he also knows that what his generation likes as well. But when you say trap music, there can be different forms of trap music. It's how you want to approach the trap music. You don't necessarily have to curse like everybody else, or you don't have to do what everybody else does. You can find your own lane and make it your own. You know, because the trap music is really the sound. The sound is what the trap is. It's the track and the flow. But what you say is what you want to write to make it sound the way it's going to sound.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to say, first of all, I read John's book. I was on the airplane ride, and I just found those who haven't read it or those who are gonna read it, it's a great book. The reason why I like it is because I've read bios before. A lot of bios normally you're struggling, and then the next thing you're a big artist, and it's like, okay, you got problems with struggling and then problems with being a big artist. But they never give the whole journey through, where yours shows it. So I feel like for somebody coming up, it shows so many ups and downs. It just shows the ups and downs of life, that you've had so much, you know, achievements, but then there was also the down, you know, so I like that. So my question to you though is now, what is your journey now? Because I see that you're going on to something else. I don't know if you want to say that, but I feel like there's something else coming.
I want to own the world. So, you know, I have a mindset right now where I want to be able to just be my own boss. Just, you know, start to, like, I have this thing in my mind, like every year I want to start a different business. Like last year I did, you know, I did a little clothing line where I sell T-shirts and stuff like that. You know, this year I wrote a book. Next year I got my streaming site is coming January 2nd, and then following after that I'm doing a beat site. So I just constantly keep trying to reinvent the wheel. So every year I'm trying to do something different and just keep it moving, and just to create different revenue streams. You just gotta just keep moving. Because before you came in, I was just talking about how living in Florida, how I became complacent, and having a sickness was a wake-up call for me. And from that point on, I look at the clock and I say to myself that the clock is ticking, and time is of the essence. So there's a lot to accomplish, but I have to start now, and I have to keep going. And I'm not going to stop. I just got to keep going and keep reinventing the wheel. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
You've been in the recording industry for many years, and it seems like now you're branching out into the publishing industry with this book. This book is self-published.
Yes, I'm a self-publisher now, yeah.
Okay.
So if anybody got books, I can self-publish.
So how was that experience for you, self-publishing, rather than, did you try to go through the publishing houses, random house and so on?
Well, originally I was setting out to publish a picture book, and reached out to a couple of publishers and stuff like that. But I saw how it was going, how everybody wants to eat off of you. Everybody wants 50% of this, they want to own that. And after doing the homework, after dealing with, like I said, Lucio Dutch, who told me, well, you just go out there, you learn it yourself. I had to go online and I had to learn everything. So I had to learn how to become a self-publisher. I had to learn how to print the book, and I was good at Photoshop. I'm good at Photoshop, so I learned how to design my own colors. I did everything from A to Z, everything. My printer was a Howard Connection. Kristen's Coates. Kristen's Coates, her father is Paul Coates. Paul Coates was the printer. And our brother is Tanahashi Coates. I'm pretty sure you guys know who he is. So I reached out to Kristen's, and Kristen's put me in touch with her father, and he printed my books for me. Everything was done in-house. Because Amazon, they wanted 75% of the earnings. And I believe they wanted to own the manuscript. So I said, you know what, I'm not going that route. I'm gonna set up a website, y'all go to my website, y'all can buy my book. And I get 100% of everything. Amazon, I think they take like 3 days, 90 days before they pay you or something like that. I was like, no way, I get my money right there. Then you buy my book, my money's in my bank account.
Hey, where do you think you'd be? You were on a great trajectory until you had the illness. Where do you think you would have gone had the illness not happened?
Well, I think, actually, I had gotten into a place in my life where I became very complacent, and I didn't know what to do. It's like, I don't want to say I was lost, but I didn't know where my next move was. Because, I mean, we all had situations dealing with the crisis, the housing crisis, the downturn of the economy, when everybody had a little struggle, you know, I felt the wrath like a lot of people as well. So throughout that time in my life, I didn't know what my next move was going to be, and I was comfortable living in Florida, but I wasn't challenging myself. I wasn't pushing myself because I wasn't sure of what my next move would be. I didn't know. But having the illness woke me up and made me get up off my feet and said, I'm going to change my life. Because when something like that happens, you say to yourself, like, you don't know if there's a tomorrow. And I think we should all think that way. Regardless if you're sick or not, you should always think that tomorrow is not promised. So you should always get out there and get it. Especially for your children and your family. Get out there. Don't be too complacent.
So, ladies and gentlemen, give Ron Lawrence a round of applause. We're going to sign some books, we're going to take some pictures. I want to thank once again East Elmhurst Library for allowing us to be here tonight. Look around, see other things that are happening here. I'm going to give you a second to get this some water there, Ron. They've been talking about it. And these are some of the programs that we do here at East Elmhurst and Queens Public Library in general. So look out, you can go on the website, look online, we're on Instagram, Facebook, all of the outlets. Look for some of the programs that we do. My programs are all hip-hop related, so I want to thank Ron for accepting the invitation to come in today and be part of our hip-hop programs, which is unique for Queens. So thank you once again. So I'll give you a second to get set up, and I'll give you a second to get set up over there, and you can go out and get a copy of the book, as well as get your son personally.